Welcome back, everybody, to the energy tips for week 37. Hopefully on time this week. I apologize for the late posting. So thank you for being such a loyal audience and for your patience. This next week, as announced in the energy update, is going to be a nice week for us. Not necessarily one to sit down and check out, as I've mentioned before. It is a week where you can truly tune into what needs to be done. It's very important to have this no nonsense. Okay, if I want to do this, I need this. And if I can't get what I need, then I need to look at how I can overcome these things that are holding me back. It's very, very practical, but you will feel the energy to take it on, to face it, all right, to no longer just freeze, to really go into this. The overall energies are all set on change. Okay, so what goes a little slower here in the collective is actually starting to really come to the forefront for us. How many times have you made plans and then didn't follow through? How many times have you experienced the frustration of not really being able to manifest change? How many times have you ended up in this place of inadequacy or powerlessness where you simply get stuck in worrying about what happens if you don't change? All right, this week here will give you the energy to come up with a good strategy, all right, a long-term strategy. There's a surprise and a luck factor in this next week that I really want you guys to take advantage of. The chakras involved, again, the ones that are being triggered the most, are going to be the threshold here between our third and fourth chakra. That's sort of ego versus true self, okay? And then our first and our seventh chakra. So the astral field of our energy body, all right, the one that anchors us here in the 3D, and also, unfortunately, that exposes us to some of these, not so benign energies, that are floating around in the astral. And it can trigger issues with belonging. It can trigger issues with separation, that you feel left out. It can feel like you can't connect with anything. Fears might come in. And also, for those of you who have a bit of religious programming, this fear of the wrath of God, all right, this outer authority, okay, that might punish you for something. For some of you, it's karma, okay? So these views, they have to be reframed here this next week. It's very, very important. Do not listen to the worries. Do not listen to the fears that are coming up, because if you make your decisions, your actions, your thoughts, your emotions based on your fear, you just manifesting more fear. You need to really get into this place where you have the courage to finally trust in what you're feeling from within, okay? And that you are connected at all times to this higher self, this true self of yours. So within the collective here, there is all this deception going on. I don't really want to go deeper into this. It just leads to more and more BS, really, and the consequences become more and more visible. Guys, if you want to know what all this collective rah-rah is truly about, then figure this, okay? This is all about the freedom to think and the freedom to live your own truth, all right? If you can just remember that, because that can give some of you guys a little more motivation, okay? It comes down to the things that are important to you, and it comes down to the things that you need to liberate yourself from if you so choose to manifest your higher potential, all right? Physically, next week, you got to watch your liver, gallbladder, stomach, okay? This nervousness that I talked about last week, this will continue here. You might also feel it in issues with your feet, with your thighs, okay? There's and also the continued skin issues. I figure that this will be the last week where you have skin issues. it's all about your physical alignment here, just as much as your emotional and your energetic alignment. So maybe try to find a Rolfing practitioner or a Shiatsu practitioner, or go to an acupuncture session that can help you to realign your physical nervous, your nervous system really, and how the energy flows through your body. Okay, so this next week brings it very clearly to the forefront what it is that you need to change on a daily basis. Your daily routines, your spiritual practices, how many times you actually connect with your true self, how many times a day you actually go within and ask yourself, how am I truly feeling? What do I truly need? What do I truly want? If this was a romantic relationship between you and your true self, and you'd only like once in a while or once a month or Sundays from 10 to 11 show up for this relationship, how do you think your partner is going to see this? If you are not valuing the relationship with your true self, with your higher self, you cannot truly feel it, and it doesn't become real enough for you to trust it. So those of you who have issues with trusting in your true self, remember this. It's about the daily routine. Make it a daily routine. Emotionally, I've mentioned it's the worry that you need to worry worried about. Don't freeze, because when you get into this freeze and this powerlessness, and no matter what brought it on, maybe it was dreams that you had, maybe it was etheric sensations that you had, maybe it was energies that you felt, maybe it was just a confrontation with somebody, or something that happened, randomly, maybe an assault or something like that. Your system isn't prepared enough to know what to do unless you create a muscle memory, unless you train yourself to respond and not react in such situations. So this is what I meant with have an exit strategy. You could interpret this how you want. Martial arts would say, train the form, and so that when you actually come into a situation, a combat situation, then you don't have to think, because you literally can't think in these moments of crisis. All right. So fears and worries are going to lower your energetic immune system. They lower your ability to access your higher skills, your higher abilities. Okay. Mentally, I see a lot of you guys trying to do too many steps at once and reaching too high. Now, there's nothing wrong with shooting for the stars and landing on the moon. Don't get me wrong. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you looking at the whole big, so conglomerate of problems that you need to overcome, or obstacles, and you allow this to lower your motivation. You allow this to disempower you. Okay, so here once more the reminder to take things one step at a time. Yes, there's a long-term nature here of this next week, so you will also have to look at long-term things, but most of you actually struggle with the daily routines. And if you are worrying about your business, and maybe it's currently in a low phase, or you're not getting to the place where you want it to be, or where you are planning to be, then it's important that you look down to your day-to-day actions and how you are actually treating your business. The business and your money is treating you the same way you're treating it. Okay, just a little tip here. All right, if you do your business like a hobby, or if you don't value what you do, if you're still struggling with self-worth issues, guys, then this will manifest in your business, and it cannot excel this way. All right, so lack and worth issues, they have to manifest. So it's very, very important that you don't have unrealistic expectations, that you don't idealize, that you don't expect too much from yourself, and this way, sort of as a daily routine, frustrate yourself or disappoint yourself. And then your manifestation will also be frustration and disappointment. I hope this is clear, how the feasibility of things sometimes requires you to, just boil it down to the next thing that needs to be done. Okay, focus on the next thing. Socially, in our relationships next week, focus on what you normally, typically, usually don't express, what you don't do, what you don't say, but what you always felt within. This has to do with developing, a better relationship with your true self, and a better communication, and a better feedback too. So, really, if you really want to trust in your inner guidance and your energetic sensitivity, you got to work with it, okay? So try something new, guys. Express, say something new. Use new words. Use different ways of saying things. In relationships, I see this over and over again, guys. Do not text with your partner. Texting is one of the worst things that you can do. It reduces your language, and it's reactive, and so many misunderstandings, so many things that need to be cleared up later, occur through texting. If you want to have a talk with your partner, then talk with them, have eye contact, or at least talk over the phone. Don't text, all right? Spiritually, this can be a little tricky, okay? Because while this is a really good time to tune into things such as, your manifestation field and your abundance field, and, also the spiritual freedom that comes with this, you just have to make sure that you stay grounded, that you stay with both feet on the ground, that you don't go into fantastical thinking, okay? These entities, dimensions, and realms, just all too often lead to identifications, to specialness, and also confusions. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this live question and answer next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about entities and energies. For everybody, it's a free event. You can ask your friends or people that you know who might be interested to come. This is a free live event. They just need to sign up for the email list so that I can send them the invitation. So be careful here. Remember, the theme for September is finding without seeking. Okay, you don't have to push into your visions. You don't have to project anything out. Your future finds you no matter where you are. Okay. And last but not least, energetic. Those of you who are a little bit trained, you will start feeling reminded on some of these fundamental etheric protection techniques that we teach here at transCODES. Good news, and not this weekend, but the weekend after, we have the energetic protection intensive, the energy awareness training that we have for 3 days in a row, 3 sessions with forum coaching. Wonderful way for you to learn these kind of things firsthand. You can't learn this anywhere, guys. This is really, really unique. So take advantage of this, all right? The bottom line of etheric protection, guys, is that you are able to triangulate yourself in time and space. And this may sound like a little bit of woo-woo here, but this has to do with you actually inhabiting and fully embodying your energy body. And you can imagine what this means. It means you have to have a feel for when you're centered. You have to have a feel for what these boundaries are of your own energy field, so that you can even detect things such as violations or attacks and something and things like that. The main thing to understand here about this etheric expansion, okay, that we all experience here during our energy awareness or energy awakening journey, is that we begin to see how we can consciously manifest, mostly through avoiding the things that have been holding us back in the past. This comes through energy awareness, guys, and this is then ultimately what allows a person to out-vibrate their own karma. Heart connection, of course, is always the foundation for this. So without knowing where your center is, and without, trusting in this inner guidance and your true self as your sort of tether to divine power, it's very difficult. It's very easy then to get misled into fear, to get misled into fantastical realms, the delusions, and also power. There's a lot of temptation that comes with this, the temptations of the ego that need to be faced when you awaken to your true powers. All right. I hope this was conclusive for you here as to what to expect for this next week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. And thank you so much for your support. See you next week. Bye-bye.